Everything, everywhere, all at once. I can't believe I said that correctly. You're watching my Everything, Everywhere, All at Once review. Welcome to Voice of the Fat Mantis. That is a tough title to say. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once is the new A24 Kung Fu interdimensional comedy is the best way to describe it. And it actually transcends every genre I've ever known and may have created new ones. Now, I originally saw it because I love Kung Fu, and with all this interdimensional stuff, all this talk of doppelgangers like Doctor Strange and all these things happening, it was right on the tip of our tongue. We were fascinated from it from before from comics, but now it's something we really want to get into. Now, this movie is brought to you by the Farting Brothers. That's Dan Kwan and Daniel Scheinert. And so those are the two guys who got you the movie where Harry Potter is a dead corpse farting, and his homoerotic friend is carrying him around an island and finds enlightenment or something. I think I may have just spoiled the film for you, so you don't really need to go see that one, but you definitely should see this one. What could be said about it? It is a story about the plight of the American housewife who's Chinese. After all, America was made up by immigrants, who just has issues with her family and her business and her life and has all the same issues we have, and she's having sort of a midlife thing going on. I don't want to say a crisis. And of course, interdimensional adventuring comes into play. And of course, it stars martial artist supreme Michelle Yeoh, one of my sweethearts. I will see anything that she's in. She doesn't have to be kicking or jumping or doing anything, and she really knocked it out of the park. And then the other, she plays against Kiwei Schwan, who, no, he's not Jackie Chan's cousin, although he may look it. Actually, he played Short Round in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. And now that I've said that, you will never get that out of your head. Every time you see him, you will hear him say, Dr. Jones. I'm deadly serious. Of course, following up with Stephanie Sue, who she has yet to make her mark on the acting world yet. She is in Mrs. Maisel and some other things, but I think that this movie and its success will definitely open the door for it. And then it's followed up by Jamie Lee Curtis, who always does well and did amazing in this. This is definitely not her typical thing, since her role was very comedic and pulled off very successfully. Now, this is an existential kung fu flick that will make you think about the catastrophe of your personality. Well, and my personality, and everyone's personality. That's the problem, that when we focus on our own personalities, we kind of start to hate ourselves and see our own flaws. And this answers that problem. How? By meeting up with doppelgangers. And that's all I'm going to tell you on that in this part of our review. It is existential, just like, say, a film like I Heart Huckabees, just with action. So non-thinkers may not want to apply for this film. However, I will say, if you're able to look past that, it also hits you in the feels. It has an amazing family drama that sums up all sorts of things, and it's just well played, mixed in with everything else. Like I said, it visits every genre and does every single one of them well. And the comedy was amazing. If you like dildo comedy, you're going to love this film. But that being said, with a movie that literally touches on every genre but does every one of them excellently, I'm going to have to call this a masterpiece. I give this an A+. Now that we've got our non-spoiler out of the way, we are moving into spoiler turf. So if you haven't seen it, or you need to leave this video, but don't forget to like, share, and subscribe on your way out the door. And let's get on with this. So what can be said in the non-spoiler thing? So it has a running time of 2:19, and you will never see that bother you one bit. As a matter of fact, I will say that the beginning is a little long. You don't get annoyed by it, but it is long. However, every single piece of it is used excellently. And looking back on it, there isn't a single scene, line, or anything I would have cut or changed. That is what you get from masterpiece types of films. Now, I did say interdimensional shenanigans, right? It's done better than most superhero films, both in execution and just general concept, and they explain them very well. And I gotta say, this is about a woman who gains access to the mind and memories and emotions of her doppelgangers, sometimes able to absorb their skills at will. Like, she's like, I need a martial artist. She gains martial arts abilities. I need a locksmith. She becomes a master locksmith and can pick locks, stuff like that. But she gains some of the memories of other things. And what's interesting is every time a new doppelganger is introduced, their story continues. And we keep jumping from her to each doppelganger of her life that we visited. Some are comedy, some are tragedy. One of them, the one in Hong Kong, was beautifully done, was romance. And it was done in a tone and filmed in the perfect way that you've ever seen a Hong Kong film. A couple walking through the rainy streets of Hong Kong, kind of having an argument, but actually talking about their feelings, their romance, their future. It was beautiful, and it was beautiful to see the different lives of Michelle Yeoh and Schwan. He did a really good job. It must be very hard to play against such a wonderful actress as her, and I think he did an amazing job. I don't know where he's been all these years. I need to look him up more. I'll tell you, like I said, the dildos, there is a lot of comedy, there is a lot of dildo humor. It was uncomfortable, but I'm no prude. What else can I say about this? We've really got to talk about this villain. So it is Jobu Tobaki, and she is straight out of an anime. She had all the workings of an anime thing, and that's what's interesting, that they actually brought anime and actually comic book, not comic book movie, but comic book storytelling techniques into this film so successfully. I particularly am talking about The Rock. Remember when they became rocks? They visit doppelgangers who are just rocks, and they just sit there and they have a silent conversation with each other. That's something you would see in an Alan Moore comic, and it's excellently done in this film. I absolutely love it. And of course they do a lot of this comedy stuff, but what's really interesting is they made like almost a live action anime with the main villain. Jobu is excellently done. I didn't think much of her at first, but she really lives up to that hype of what's going on there, particularly with the bagel. And the bagel's interesting more than anything else. The bagel represents, well, before I say what it represents, it took me a while before I figured out what it represents. What is this giant everything bagel that absorbs everything is? And it took me a little while to understand that is depression and ultimately suicide. And they're able to do such a poignant, powerful story about suicide without even mentioning it. And I think a lot of people would say, well, that's a fail. You need to really get into it. This isn't that type of movie. Once you figure it out and you're like, well, what is this ultimate weapon she's destroyed? It's the abyss that is her soul. It was intense. It was an amazing. And I really loved at the end. I was jumping back and forth because they had these fake out morals. Like I said, it's very much like I Heart Hopkins, where there's a lot of like, you have to realize that like miracles are awesome, but miracles aren't special. And human connection is the most lovely thing in the world, but it's also nothing amazing. And that you should love your enemies, therefore, because you're all in this horrible thing we call existence at the same time. And the fact that an action movie could deliver that message to us was so well done. I absolutely love that. They really just took it to another level. I'm so impressed with this film. It's the most impressive film I've seen in a really long time. I hope that I'm not playing this up too much for you, because I really want you guys to go and see it. Try to see, is there anything else I forgot? You know what? If I forgot it, you just tell me about it in the comments when you go and see this movie. Now, originally, it's in limited release, which means it only has been out in 10 movie theaters in all of America. However, on April 8th, it's going full wide. It's going out there, and I highly recommend you check it out, because we've got a lot to discuss about this film. So if you've seen it, let me know down in the comments what your thoughts. And when you see it, get back to this video, because we need to talk about it. Now, remember to like, share, and subscribe if you like this type of comment and you like a lot of indies like A24 films being reviewed. There's a lot less of us on the internet, particularly YouTube, anymore, because a lot of people are just focusing on these grandiose big hitters like blockbusters. But I'm going to tell you, I'm going to review every little film I can get my greasy little hands on. So I will see you guys, and until next time, ciao for now.